Hi, Terry here, and welcome to Times Gone Tech. Hey, yesterday I went out to the Swan Creek shooting range in Tanner, Alabama. Spent a couple hours, which kind of explains the frog in my throat. I think I'm coming down with maybe a summer head cold, but so bear with me. Now, I went out to do some muzzle velocity testing. Now, before I show you that test, let me take a minute or two and explain why I was even there, what I was testing, and what I was looking for. When we talk about carrying a handgun for everyday self-defense, there's several categories or criteria that we need to consider. And this is true with any handgun, not just conventional, not just black powder, any handgun. Now, we like to think there are 7, 8, 9, maybe even 10 criteria, but I like Mike Bellevue's version back when he was with us, when he boiled it down to 3 criteria, and that was reliability, portability, and stopping power. Now, if we forget everything else like reload time, rate of fire, fire capacity, forget about all that, let's just look at stopping power for a moment, because I think that's really the main thing we need to be interested in. If we assume that everything else works and we've done our homework, we've done our practice, we've got our timing right, luck's on our side, and we get that pistol out in an armed confrontation and we get that first round in, is it going to stop the guy? Now, there are ways that can be quantified. It's been done several different times. The one that I like to use was done by a couple of police officers, where they looked at thousands of self-defense shootings. And this was not a couple of guys shooting at ballistics gel and then plugging the numbers into a formula, okay? These are bodies in the morgue, bodies in the hospital, telling us, this works, this doesn't. So this is real empirical data. Now, what they were looking for was the minimum amount of power, or you could say energy, that a projectile has to deliver into the target in order to ensure a one-hit kill. And that's the minimum we're looking at. What is that minimum amount of power that will put those odds like, 90-10, 95-5, in our favor? And that value is expressed as foot-pounds of energy, and it turns out that the minimum amount of foot-pounds of energy, or FPE, is 200. So any handgun round, bullet, ammo, whatever you want to call it, that can deliver 200 or more foot-pounds of energy on impact has a very good chance of putting that person down in one round, with one round. But that leaves absolutely no safety margin. That's the bare minimum. So if we add a safety margin and go up, say, to 250, that's even better. Hang on a second. Got to get a drink of water. Oy, back. Where was I? Oh, yeah. 250 gives us a nice safety margin. 300 is outstanding. And any round that can deliver 350 or more foot-pounds of energy on impact can put a grizzly bear down. Now, the 357 Magnum does between 450 and 550, just to give you an idea of how powerful 357 Magnum is. The Colt Walker is up around 500, so it's pretty good too. Okay, normal, ordinary, everyday carry self-defense handgun rounds. Now, 200, 250. Okay, most 380 rounds, which is the single most popular everyday carry round selling on the market right now, at least here in the United States. I know you 9mm guys would disagree with that, but there are a lot of people carrying those little 380 pocket guns. Those things are selling like hotcakes. Most of those rounds fall below 200. The high end of the 380, the plus P, the plus P plus, they'll hit 200 and a little over, 210, 220. 9mm, all 9mm meet it. They range between 250, 300, 325. So they make the minimum, 9mm. Okay, so what's all the point with all this? Okay, a couple of weeks ago, another YouTube channel did some muzzle velocity testing with very similar to this. Now, this is my Pietta replica of a fantasy gun that didn't really exist, but the important part of it is 3.5-inch barrel, 44 caliber, firing a .454 soft lead ball, cap and ball, black powder. And they were testing a Remington, new model Army. A little different, but same characteristics. 3.5-inch barrel, 44 caliber, 140 grain soft lead ball. Okay. Now, that's a good video, and I'm not going to bore you with all the details, but the short version is they discovered that by shooting a 35 grain charge as opposed to a standard 30 grain that you use in one of these guns with a full 8.5-inch barrel, by going up 5 grains to 35 grains, they got exactly the same muzzle velocity as the same gun with the longer 8.5-inch barrel. 900 to 1,000 feet per second. Okay, that's interesting by itself. Now, I would never believe that a black powder revolver with a 3.5-inch barrel could deliver 900 feet per second with a 140 grain bullet, but that's what they got. Now, their own black powder, admittedly, is probably equal to a Swiss, and I don't have access to Swiss. Oh, okay, so what does all that mean? What does that come down to? Okay, 444 caliber, 140 grain lead bullet, traveling at 800 feet per second muzzle velocity will generate that 200 foot-pounds of energy. Again, right on the line, no safety margin, 800 feet per second. If we get up to 900 feet per second, then we can expect to get about 250 FPE on impact, which is a decent, capable, man-stopping round. Not the best, it's not the world's best, but it's decent, it's capable. 300 would be outstanding. That's around 1,000 feet per second. So these other guys were getting 900 to 1,000 feet per second. That's some serious stopping power in a black powder revolver with a 3.5-inch barrel. So like I said, I don't have access to Swiss, so I got to thinking though, what would happen if I went up to 40 grains with my powder? Now 40 grains is the absolute maximum that I can stuff into that chamber. And I got to coax and peen it in with a hammer to just get that ball down. So I don't recommend it as, normal charge. It's going to wear your gun out really fast. You're going to break trigger springs, and you're going to wear out the wedge slot in the arbor over the long term just from the shock. But just to see what we could get, I went to the range, and I also decided to do a little twist on their test, and I decided to test 4 different propellants. I tested my own red cedar black powder, 75-15-10 mix ratio, dry balled mill for 24 hours, and then compressed to a density of 1.0. I also tested GoX. I decided to test 777 and Pyrex. Yeah, somebody always wants to know, well, how would Pyrex have done? Why didn't you test Pyrex? So we tested Pyrex. I mean, marginally better than sawdust in my opinion, but I went ahead and tested it. So 2 real black powders and 2 fake black powders or substitutes. Okay, look at the video, watch the test, and come back and we'll talk about it. .525. .647. .671. .842. 681. 846. 623. 492. 478. 654. 608. 646. 698. 692. 727. 685. 660. Average 685. $757.
I would
724. 734. 687. 670. 711. Average 714. And it's just about locked up on me. Okay, on that last test with 777, you might notice that I only did 5 shots, and that's because that Pyrodex just gummed that gun up so bad. After 5 rounds with 777, I literally could not cock the hammer back. Even using my other hand to help turn the cylinder, I could not get that damn thing back. I tried to break it apart and, clean it up, put some water on it, clean it up, but I couldn't get the barrel off. I even joggled it in there with a screwdriver and it would not break loose. And I was pretty much tired of the range anyway. I'd been there over an hour, 90-degree heat, 100% humidity. I'm not exaggerating, 100% humidity. Sun shining right in our eyes because the range faces east. Who would build a shooting range that faces east? North, but not east. Come on. But anyway, off the subject. Okay, so I only did 5 rounds, but the interesting thing is this. Why were all of the rounds, all of them, all 4 powder, well, 3, Pyrodex is right where I expected to be in the dumpster. It's where it belongs. But my powder, GoX, and 777. Now, here's the thing. My powder and GoX did pretty well together. They held up. Now, my powder tested out a little bit higher than GoX this time, but the next time GoX might test out a little bit higher than mine. So they're about even. And 777 did test out a lot better than either one of mine, which I expected. Now, 777 is a very popular black powder substitute, and I've been hearing for years that it's better than GoX, and it's only marginally lower in performance and power than Swiss. Okay, and with the numbers that I got, let's go over these again. 685 feet per second with my powder, not real good. We need 800. 702 for GoX. Okay, so let's say on average that they're both around 700. Okay, that's about 100 feet short of what we need. And then 777, 714. That's about 100 feet per second short of where we'd like to be. So they compare with each other as I expected, but all three were about 100 feet per second lower than I expected. Now, you could say, okay, with that short barrel, that 3.5-inch barrel, it was due to incomplete combustion. Oh, okay, I can go with that with the extra 5 grains, between 35 and 40. Maybe that extra 5 grains just didn't burn up, it blew out the barrel. So that could account for that. But even so, 777 is supposed to be almost as good as Swiss. Now, 35 grains of Swiss was getting 900 feet per second. Why was mine with 777 only hitting 700? 200 feet per second lower. You know, it should have been up like 50 feet lower, maybe, not 200 feet. So the point that I'm getting at is, if you're thinking about, you want to get one of these to carry for everyday personal carry self-defense, you can't just go to the store, buy some GoX or some 777. When GoX comes out on the market again, you'll be able to. My point is, you can't just go to the store, buy some type of propellant made for black powder, stick a ball in there, and you're good to go. You're not going to get the stopping power. You're not going to hit that minimum 200 FPE. And you're just not going to get that with any propellant on the market, except maybe Swiss, which I need to test sometime, but I have to take out a second mortgage on my house to get a pound of Swiss to my house. Or I can try upgrading my powder equal to Swiss. Now, I've already got the maximum amount in storage that I'm allowed to have legally outside of an explosives license and a concrete bunker. So as soon as I burn some up of what I've got, then I'm going to start experimenting with some different formulas. I want to see if I can't get up to that same 900 to 1,000 feet that the other guys were getting with their powder, because there's something wrong there. I understand Swiss is better, but is it that much better? 200 feet per second better? So anyway, that's all I got for today's video. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.
I'll be back.